style of play when people are just super aggro and you're like, I have no idea what they're doing. Reciprocity's been able to channel that. It's gotten them all the way here. You guys, again, saw that tweet from Fox yesterday. They really don't have any strats they're prioritizing, no IGLs, no nothing. They're just playing good Siege.
We're going to see a slight curveball thrown in the ban phase right off the bat as Buck is going to get banned. Oh,
how dare you?
Spacestation replies with an Ash ban. This means we have so much utility still in the pool for the attackers. You have Capitao still unlocked. You have Jackal still unlocked. That's a lot going unbanned now here, and that could make the opening half and the second half as well very, very dangerous. Valkyrie's going to follow it up with our next ban.
This cut my heart in half right there. Oh my gosh, Buck and Ash banned out. Haven't seen that one on Clubhouse. That Ash ban more than likely prioritizing Nyx. They don't want him to feel as powerful or as vocal on the map. Valkyrie removed and then Mira going to follow suit. So the defensive bans, not too crazy. The offense, definitely crazy.
Absolutely, and this is going to make for a really interesting map on Clubhouse itself. The notable lack of a Buck here is also going to change things up for the attackers. It's taking quite a bit away, just because the fact that we don't really ever see him get banned out that often. Although at this event, it's been happening a little bit more. It seems as though teams are adapting into that. First sight is going to be the basement here, as Reciprocity will start out on the defense, and Spacestation jumps onto the attack.
All right, well, Clubhouse, a very defensive-sided map, but we've seen Reciprocity make it offensive-sided throughout this entire tournament. Retro already 6-picking away from the Kaid on over to the Castle. We've seen this a couple of times throughout this tournament, bringing Castle on this site just to try and give them some help on the roam game, and this crowd already getting into it. I love the amount of energy you guys are ensuing.
Barely even started the first round here. Yeah, we love it, guys. Keep it going, but now it's time to talk about the setup here now. Reciprocity first on defense into the basement. As far as operator lineup is concerned, everything going according to plan, so we should expect a fairly standard hold here. The Mozzie, Vigil, Legion, Castle, and Mute setup. No smoke notably on there, so they won't be able to delay direct pushes if we have to see SSG go for a play through Church Wall or work their way through Moto or something like that.
This is a setup yesterday that we saw Reciprocity run with the Mute Mozzie combo, stealing a lot of drones, and TSM could not find a way to fight through it. It's a very difficult setup because you don't have as much information as you would want, but since the bans are still very open to intel gathering ops on the offense, Bosco grabs Jackal, very important operator for clearing roam game, can definitely help out with every single one of these roamers on Reciprocity because Caviera is not being played.
Vert definitely still feeling a little bit of confidence, it seems, after his amazing match yesterday versus TSM. Does try to go for a little bit of a peek over by the strip club doors. Not going to be able to find much towards it, though. Got Bosco, who's going to move in through side entry now and start clearing that out. What the Jackal.
Spacestation being very respectful of the roam game. Immediate tracks will tack on to Vert. Some new angles being made for Bosco, so far so good. They do have to worry about these castle barricades now. Need some information on that, on what has been split up, and it looks like the way that they have set these castle barricades is to secure bar and make it to where they can drop down Moto if needed.
Vertical looks like he is going to start falling back towards a safe position if he needs to play into the cycle. Onto the main stairs. Foxe going to be first to fall in this match, though, is Thinking Nate is able to catch him.
Vert sitting at the top of main stairs. Quick shot from Rampy. Spacestation handling a lot of this business from the outside of the building. We saw Thinking Nate upstairs as well as Rampy gets a double onto Nyx. And Team Reciprocity's hopes for this round are starting to be dashed away.
Spacestation with some really good methodical play, and most importantly, it's smart as well. They are tracking down the members of Reciprocity one by one and tearing apart their strategy in the process. Down to only 2 now for the defenders with a little under a minute and a half remaining in the round. A lot to scan here as well over by the bar area for Bosco on that unbanned Jackal. He's going to go hunting now for the castle. A little bit of drone assistance behind him.
Spacestation definitely doing their homework on this matchup on Reciprocity for Clubhouse. Great roam clear so far. Not a single person has died on SSG. Thinking Nate very low on HP, but still alive with those EMPs.
Bosco going to drone himself down the main stairs here. Once again, time starting to get a little bit low, so there may still be hope for Reciprocity yet. One player, I believe, still hiding upstairs or on the first floor, however, with Laxing being Retro, excuse me, being the main one to play into the site. Door gonna open, and oh my goodness, Retro gets run over by Bosco as yet another kill is claimed for SSG. Laxing last one alive, and he was indeed on the first floor. Gonna try to make a wrap over into the main hall to Kitchen. The door explosion might have been heard by their opponents, though. The will give him away. As he wraps over here, he's going to try and see if anything will present itself through these punch holes that have been opened on the inside of the kitchen. But again, just not a whole lot that he can utilize. He's going to have to try and go for the 1v5 retake. And I would imagine that this would end pretty quickly, as Thinking Nate already has the angle.
The issue is now is that there's 5 people on site, and Laxing doesn't have any vertical control except for inside of kitchen, but the hatch isn't open for him to drop. Thinking Nade with the final blow and the flawless round for SSG after a fantastic roam clear and some very methodical play.
SSG, a perfect round number 1 here, and played to a T as well. Not really a single mistake. Thinking Nate having the closest call out of anyone there with his first pickup in just a normal 1v1, but even he is able to get a second one at very low HP later on in the round. CCTV and Cash is going to be our second site. Reciprocity not sticking with that basement defense. They don't feel confident in it after they, to be fair, did kind of get run over by SSG. Let's see if their Cash site will be any better.
Almost feels like a home game for Las Vegas here with Reciprocity being based here. So many fans in the crowd for them, and you still have the away fans, obviously, of SSG, and the energy in the crowd right now is just awesome, guys. Fantastic. So, as we're rolling into CCTV, we're still going to see the Mozzie play. It's worked out very well for Reciprocity in the past, and they don't think that the first round is really a telltale sign that it isn't working just yet. Last time that we saw them on this site, they went for an extended hold horizontally, where they would hold Master, get aggressive towards weights and stuff like that, and it looks to be the exact same setup as you see Fox reinforcing the middle panel in Master.
Besides that, though, I think L's going to be going pretty much according to plan here. Fox will be playing a little bit further out into the bedroom area. We'll try to play for some defense here as he extends his grasp out slightly. And I would imagine the rest of the team will do the same downstairs too, as they look to have some better luck defending this upstairs site. At the same time, SSG, you can expect probably a pretty slow start from them, just like the previous round. Lots of droning, lots of emphasis on gathering the intel before they take action, so that when they do, it almost certainly will go their way. At least they would hope so.
Well, the offense of SSG not rocking a Maverick. We will have the 2 regular hard breachers in the likes of Habana and Thermite. But what else would you expect? So, with that being said, they're going to have to go for the EMP trick. More than likely going to try and use Rampy to flame off the wall so that Bandit cannot Bandit trick it. The Bandit will be played by Vert. They're going to have to do the regular dance and jig to try and get this wall open. They could always go for the concussion way as well with Zofia, and that's going to be what they try first. As you see, Fultz is going to line up with the concussions, but more than likely going to be eaten up, and no, it won't actually. Gets it on the far side as the concussions don't get close enough in order to stop that animation.
One more attempt on the exothermics. They still have a Habana, but I believe the hope was to save those, to open up other avenues of attack as well. So if this second attempt fails, they will have to use those X-Kairos. And I mean, actually, we may not even see them use it just because it's even easier to trick those. So more than likely it would end up being wasted utility. But let's find out. It's looking like they may be attempting it relatively soon here. And a couple players moving over, trying to get angles on the other window to prevent the trick from happening. Canadian placing the charge, and this time looks like it's going to be successful. Wall is open for the team, and now they can start the attack.
It was off screen for you guys at home, but they did open up the right-hand side of the top panel of Garage. That way Rampy could get a line of sight up towards the window. You see it right there on the top right of your screen as Sneaky Nade walks by. You're able to shoot the Capitao fire arrows up and through the window. Remember, those do have drop now, so you have to shoot a little bit higher. And it prevents Bandit from bandit tricking because obviously fire and skin does not mix. Bosco might have our first point of contact now. There's a little bit of damage dealt to everyone, but that's from the Capitao bolt as well as that shock wire that Canadian was dealing with on the wall.
We're going to see just a couple of those X-Kairos ending up detonating as a result of the players further deep in cache. They're able to easily just tap those out one by one. Bosco is still hunting down this player hiding up on the catwalk. And in the meantime, Foxay is going to make a run up with perfect timing. Catches both Thinking Nate and Rampy trying to run in.
And that's that explosiveness of Reciprocity that we've talked about. Canadian now downed. Laxing trying to confirm. He recognizes that the man is laying on the ground. And that's going to be 5-2 in favor of Reciprocity right now. Only 2 remaining members of SSG. Fultz and Bosco as they're trying to take control of Garage once again. Sees one behind the box. That's going to be Foxay as he dies at the bottom of Garage. Fultz now working his way up cache stairs. Sees a little bit of the box. Takes down Retro. Knocks it down to the 2 versus 2. Vert and Nix. equalization very quick back into the hands of Spacestation. Quick rotation upstairs as Bosco's going for a Hail Mary. Can he find him? No, Nyx melts him, but a quick shot for Fultz. He knows where the last man is. He's behind the shield. Can he get it? He pre-fires, but no! Reciprocity on timer.
Just a second too late in a last-second dodge from Rec. Gets them control of the next round. It's only by a hair, however, but it's enough to get them at 1-1. Now moving on to the next site, they've got a choice here. Can they go back to basement or do they go over towards gym? It's looking like basement will be the choice. Spacestation will certainly be happy about that in the way that they played it. We already see change-ups coming in for Reciprocity, though. They are bringing a drastically different operator lineup than when they did the first time they played this. Smoke is now in play. Cade is now in play. Pulse, I believe, is different as well from the last time, and Echo. So the defense will be much more heavily emphasized on the basement than it was on the first attempt.
SSG was definitely ready with that roam clear, and this is a good adjustment from Reciprocity. Bring it back to site, put it inside of the turtle. Let them come to you. You guys are winning out these gunfights. It just so happens to be that SSG is also having some explosive tendencies. Like that last round, I'm pretty sure everyone at home too thought that it was over. It's a 2 versus 5. All you have to do is trade out, and all of a sudden you're up 2 rounds. Didn't end up going that way. Reciprocity got kind of passive when it came down to the gunfights, not really overpeaking, didn't want to try and throw the round. They were playing not to lose instead of playing to win, and SSG made them work for it.
So SSG more than likely going to have to do a little bit more work this time too, as we should expect the roam presence from Rec to be minimal. More than likely just going to have Retro and maybe Vert moving out and trying to get some action on the other floors, but I would doubt it in the case of Vert, considering his position as the Pulse currently. So let's see what exactly Spacestation is now going to look to do. A lot of droning presence again in the early round here, just clearing out the second floor in its entirety before they decide to move in.
Reciprocity filling out all of the prerequisites to hold down the site, reinforcements up, utility out, but overall I'd say Reciprocity and Turtle defenses are kind of a surprise, just because they are so explosive. I mean, most of these operators that you would see as somebody that's extremely passive, Reciprocity plays with a more aggro style, like Laxing on Echo. You'll see him take gunfights that you wouldn't traditionally take. Overall, it's just a very unexpected way to handle those Turtle defenses. Hopefully SSG is ready for that.
Bit of a fact that you guys saw coming up there as well. These two teams last played at DreamHack Montreal on this map, with Spacestation taking the edge at the end of it with a flawless defense. Thanks again to our friends at SSG for helping us out with that.
Yeah, Spencer's a great guy. He finds some really, really neat stuff for you guys. Well, Bolt's working his way into blue with the M762 of Zofia. Haven't seen too many people using the LMG at this tournament. We do see it every once in a while, but apparently it's not for the young gunner himself. SSG working for the Moto hats. They have all of the top control, as we were talking about before. Reciprocity adopting to more of a turtle-like defense, but this is where Vert is going to be able to make a stance. That EMP more than likely not knocking out the cardiac sensor, so he'll be able to read everyone's positions that are close to him through the flooring. Very smart yokai drone as well by Laxing, watching the main stairs.
He's gonna have good intel about when the push will finally work its way down here, which was part of the issue last round here, as they couldn't really lock down any of the positions of the space station. Roam clear, essentially, and allowed for some of their operators, specifically the Jackal, to take care of it with pretty much relative ease. We got Space Station still taking their time on the wind-up here, but it is looking like they're going to start some action now. Canadian with the drop-down, going to go for a quick church wall pop. Looks like there is going to be an attempt to stop that, but I don't believe that it will work out too well here, as the Cade is not nearby. Wall is open, church now accessible to the attackers. Drone's going to move in, give these guys a little bit more intel. We can see our pan camera here on the right side as well. Shows you the Reciprocity players trying to hold the now breached wall, with Nyx popping out those smoke charges to try and delay the rest of the team from pushing down. Thinking Nade with the hold, though, takes down Nyx when he gets aggressive and swings around the desk, but doesn't pay attention as Vert also does the same thing a second later and finds the trade.
Getting flashbacks to the TSM game from yesterday where they got too passive after they got the wall open. Reciprocity made them pay for it. Vert with a nice nitro cell, but Bosco immediately trades it out. Knocks it down into the 3 versus 3. Watch the timer though, folks. We're under 15 seconds. They gotta make magic happen here. They don't have the diffuser in hand either. Bosco drops the kitchen hatch. He's gotta find multiple, but no! It's another trade yet again. Only 2 seconds. Rampy has to stick the diffuser. Fultz on defense. He finds one. Can he get the second? He's looking blue, but he flicks back, and Fultz! Oh my! It's only round 3, folks, and SSG is already getting excited.
What a hold from SSG. Again, we've seen so many of these rounds throughout this tournament. One where the losing team, that appears to be anyway, the losing team in the mid-round just manages to spin it on its heel, and they do it once again. Great stuff on the execute from Spacestation. Limited time, limited positioning, and going up basically against the entire breadth of the utility from Reciprocity. They still make it happen. Beautiful stuff, especially from Fultz, who gets the job done in that post-0 second clutch.
It was a very scary instance there for Spacestation Gaming. Once they got that wall open, they got to be very, very passive because Reciprocity kept forcing themselves out of the breach. And they were taking those gunfights, as you said, and they ended up getting a trade. SSG starts to force the envelope just a little bit more, gets some pressure finally onto Church after taking down Vertical. It just got very scary there because they did drop that diffuser, and as the timer continued to tick down, somebody's got to force the plant down in order to extend the timer, because if you don't, it hits 0-0. The defense wins by default. So more than likely, we will be seeing this happen quite often today.
And so not feeling that basement site, Reciprocity changes up the selection once again. Cash and CCTV are still locked for play. They can't go back to that just yet. They can do that on the next round. But for this one, they're going to have to go over towards the gym bedroom site. We'll play into this. There is still going to be defense set up, as you can see on the central left side of the screen, inside of areas like construction and cash, where that other site was a couple of rounds back, just because they need to maintain the map control. Laxing will be the one to play into these rooms.
Well, as we've grown to notice from SSG so far on this clubhouse up against the Rec Pack, as the kids say.
Yeah.
They've been very methodical about these room clears, even though, you know, Reciprocity has been playing a lot more passive since the first round. They're still going through all of the steps, drone out everything, make sure no one's hiding upstairs, look for where their utilities placed, what have you. It's worked out very well for them. They've only dropped a single round, and even inside of that round, it was very, very close, only losing off of timer. If there was even a split second more, this could be an SSG 3-0 right now.
Quick church wall opening to start, or excuse me, not church wall, CCTV wall opening in order to start the round off here for SSG. They will note the immediate reinforcements that are set up going into cash, so they'll have to start doing a little bit more drone work just to see what the setup is like. Rampy's going to be given the all clear. He'll move through red and start this pinch. However,
oh, no.
Foxay jumping up on the table, spots Rampy, takes him out in cold blood.
You want to talk about timing, I'll show you timing. Right when Rampy goes to switch to the SMG-11, opting for the 1X side instead of the ACOG on the L85, just because he wants to be a little bit closer, doesn't work out for him. They definitely heard that punch on the other side, so they know Boss goes near the top of red stairs. Thinking Nate breaks open the doors, seeing that they have an angle made so that someone can watch all the way from Master through the construction wall. SSG currently trying to work with the time, slow and steady. You still have to worry about one inside of cash. Destroys an ADS, but no drones have rolled through yet, so they definitely have no idea that Laxing's still sitting here. This is something that Laxing has grown proficient at over time. Being extremely patient, waiting for these kills, and he finds the first one. What did I tell you? Lax still lying in wait. Yet another Laxing as he's trying to go off, but he finally gets shut down from Canadian, but not before the damage is already done, and it's only down to Bosco. Tries to catch him on rotation through construction, but actually not going to be too late. Quick flick to the left-hand side. Bosco finds Fox, knocks it down to the 1 versus 3.
Bringing the Toby eye tracker here. That little orange bubble you see is Bosco's eyesight. That's precisely what he's looking at currently. He'll move forward. He's going to take a little bit of shock damage from that wall to his right. Not a big deal, though. Only does about 3 damage per tick. Self-drone, which is going to be a bit dangerous at this point. Obviously, he's the last man standing, and he's only got 30 seconds left. But it's just to quickly check what's inside of the office so that he doesn't end up getting shot in the back here when he tries to make his push. It's the thing he seems most worried about right now. Trying the best to swing in, but just no easy angle presenting itself. And obviously, you do have those smoke gas grenades sitting in the way as well. Flash is going in as there's not much of a choice here. X-Kairos to open up the softball on the other side. Does find the first kill against Vertical. 2 more still need to be found, though. There's not enough time. Regardless, Nyx will find the final pick from main stairs on the Maestro, and Rec will close out another round, tying us up at 2-2.
Even though it is Reciprocity, you guys should see the amount of respect they just put on Bosco's name. They know if you let that man pop off, he's going to make you hurt. So they show him some respect, back off, play the proper angles, waste as much of the time as possible with their utility before letting Bosco have any space. And that is how you handle those 1v3 situations, especially with a man like Bosco on the other end.
Rec has a great chance here to try and take a bit of a lead. They are going back to the only other site that they've won, and it was just barely won on the last time. It is Space Station coming back in the late rounds. So once more, they'll have to watch out for that maintained positions. We do have a couple 6 picks coming in. Mozzie being brought back in once again for the folks over on Reciprocity. And I believe we had a Capitao get 6 picked in for the attackers on SSG.
All right, well, relatively same setup for Reciprocity we saw the last time that we were here. Fox picking the Mozzie back up so he can make that long angle all the way from cache wall to construction into mastery so you can see the weights window. Regular reinforcements other than that. Only thing that kind of out of the ordinary that you guys might be wondering is why did Nyx put an ADS on CCTV window? Well, that's to prevent any concussions or nades pouring in to try and kill the man that's bandit tricking. And it's going to be Vert once again. Last time this worked out pretty well for him, but after a little while, finally just ran out of utility, ran out of juice, and got set on fire. And you really can't go through the fire and flames in order to put a bandit down because you will just die at the end of the day.
Laxton still trying to set up his final evil eye there. Looks like he finally got it onto the wall. So SSG now should be ready to move in. Bosco once again going to open the top right corner of the garage, and False already finding what I assume was the roamer from Reciprocity as Nyx on the Jaeger is gone. Just 20 seconds into the round.
Not a single emotion on his face, ice in his veins, wants this. Canadian especially wants this. Best of fives have not been his forte for a very, very long time. Sadly enough, because he has been the hope, the dreams of NA inside of a lot of instances, but now it's NA on NA. Will he be the first NA team to win a best of 5? That's a real question.
I guess we're going to find out. We do have the wall attempting to get open. It is tricked onto the other side and still knocks it out.
He found a safe spot right in the corner next to the door where the flames were not reaching him. Very unfortunate.
So the flames don't end up working all the way in. The trick is successful. Second attempt going to come in here relatively soon. Just waiting on the support to come in to take care of the electric wall. Here it comes. Canadian can start the planning process now. Vert's going to go for the trick. The stun comes in. It does interrupt them, and there we go. Vert has to back away. Can no longer hold on to this. The wall is open. Space Station now with a minute and a half to complete the take.
They've gotten so creative with how to handle this wall. You can handle it from the CCTV window, the drone hall, all the way from garage. There's so many different ways in order to get the bandit off the wall so you can finally get the wall open. They happen to go with option number 3. Shoot some concussions through the hole, place the thermite charge to the right, making it to where he cannot complete the animation because of those concussions. Very smart gunfight here from Bosco, protecting his body with that brick wall. Dances back and forth, trying to keep his head low. Knows exactly where Vert is now, as the drone will confirm it. Looks like they want to swing all the way from garage. Bosco opening up the safety barricade behind him. Another fire arrow, and that's going to be their last one. Rampy finally gets Vert, but gets traded out immediately by a nitro cell.
Foxe throw one, I believe, from Oil Pit over towards the garage door in order to get that kill. Fultz bringing it back, though. Catches Foxe, trying to rotate up blue. Taking him out now with only 2 players left standing. They're once again going to have to try and bring this back from the brink, but it's not looking good. First attempt at a plant already gone in. One of the 2 has been down. Everything falls to Laxing. He's still trying to use Evil Eyes. I don't even know if he has a clean way to get back into the site right now. Plant going down. He's going to try to locate this first kill. Having trouble tracing the spray, but he does eventually take out Bosco. Run out a potential possibility for him, as that window may already have been open, but actually I don't think it is, due to the fact there's been minimal balcony play. Laxing just trying to find a way to get back in. He will try to go for a reload. Not a reload you see happening very often due to the 81 rounds it has. Trying to make this wrap plausible. He's got teammates checking those default cams above him to see what is on the catwalk and potentially what may be waiting for him outside. Looking real quick to see. Nothing really going to present itself, and ultimately this is just not going to be something that he can clutch out. Just tries to go for frags at the end of it, but not going to happen. Fultz shuts it down with one more to his kill counter, and SSG take the lead again.
Fultz is on full 200 IQ right now, folks. How fast he read where that nitro cell came from was insane. Right when that man dies, Foxe was already dipping through to blue to come up the staircase, and he was already lying in wait to kill him on rotation. Right when he saw that nitro cell kill, he goes, there's only one place this could have happened. And he rappels down, picks up the kill. Fultz is here to play, and so is SSG. Reciprocity, though, not really working too well on defense. We saw them be pretty dominant against TSM yesterday, where they were also using that more methodical play, but SSG is prone to a lot more gunfights, it seems, than TSM has been on this offensive side. TSM had a real rough day yesterday with information game, whereas these pre-places are really working out for SSG. That's why you guys saw the pre-firing of the bullets hitting the door frame inside of Garage, is all because of those pre-placed drones. They set one up inside of Garage so they could watch it at a later date, or if somebody was dead, they can flip through those drones. Those will help you out a lot inside of early game and late game when you're looking for those rotations.
We had our scoreboard get flashed there for just a second a moment ago. Not only do we have Fultz going off just from a mental standpoint, he's making some really smart plays, but just from the fragging point of view right now, he's 9-1 in this game.
Oh my God. I thought you were pointing out the 4 deaths there.
No. Fultz just
9-0
barely
in 1.
going down.
Hey.
He's barely been on support mode this whole game. He's only had to do that one round.
Is this a time where I remind you that he only played 1 season of CL? It's only a 1 season.
Good thing to know.
Fultz played a single season of competitive Siege and then came to SSG, and he's currently rocking Reciprocity right out of their socks.
A meteoric rise, that's for sure.
Yeah. Very quick. Ride the lightning, I guess. I don't know.
Trying to see if he can keep it going and take home a trophy for it as well. Still a long way from that, though, folks. Remember, this is a best of 5. It's 3 maps to win today, not just 2, as we've been working with the last couple days.
Well, as we've grown to notice from SSG, they definitely like the info game early. All the drones rolling through, but they are going to find their first obstacle. It'll be Fox. And on Vigil, ERC7 backpack makes it to where you see those little white bars on your drone. And that means that Fox has that backpack on. And what it does is it makes it to where you can't see Vigil's player model. He's actually completely hidden until the backpack runs out of juice. It's about a 7-second timer, so you don't have to wait too long, but he can definitely make some smart rotations while waiting. Vertical going to be on the pulse scanner once again. The last time we saw them go for this, it was a very last-second plant that worked out for them behind the mini bar of all places, usually planted behind the black box because that one is bulletproof, as opposed to the mini bar that is not.
Bosco going to make a little wrap here just to get himself in position in kitchen. He's opening the windows right now to clear out any potential roaming presence that might have still been hiding over here towards the freezer entry or any of the other kitchen entry points here. Pulse still scanning from down below as Vert waits for the push to work its way down here. Again, Sledge is still doing a bit of detailing work in that kitchen. And also a bit of the yokai is being relocated. Fultz is actually going to catch that one, so they're going to know, assuming it doesn't get moved again, exactly where one is should they have a need to push blue. But it does appear once again that they are favoring a route through the main stairs and kitchen and that moto hatch.
Uh-oh, Smoke might be in trouble here, but no, Nyx will scurry off back to site. No damage dealt to him, no harm, no foul. MP goes off, and this should be the hatch being open. Yes, it will. It gets finally confirmed by those ex-Kairos of Habana, but still a long road ahead of them. Haven't worked their way into sight. You guys see 3 drones roll in, trying to get all the info. Canadian putting it pre-placed at the back of Armory. And remember, it is Rainbow Six Siege. This is not any other game in the world. All of the information is what's the most important. Honestly, the gun comes second in these instances. It's going to be a fast drop, a fast trade between 2 players. Frag grenades pour in as well as stuns. The plant's already going down. Bosco keeping vertical pressure. Are they even aware of this? Laxi moves the yokai drone. He stops one, so they have the information. Canadian rotates back behind the bomb chassis to try and defend himself from the rotate hole. Retro works his way in. Laxing inside of Mud Tunnel, but he's out of yokais now. Canadian sticks it. Plant successful. Vert and Retro very low HP, but Vert still wins it out anyways. Laxing the only man with full HP as they finally equalize. Fultz works his way down blue with the pistol, but tends to rotate back up. Oh no, he's being chased right now and he can hear them. Whips the pistol back out, but no, he's got a fully loaded AR now. It's a double kill for him on the round. They still have protection upstairs, but Vert gets him because of the cardiac sensor. What a smart utility usage. It's down to Vert, very low HP. He's trying to stump them. He's trying to keep this at equalization. Such low HP still onto the triple kill, but he's got to worry about the verticality, and SSG takes the split on offense.
SSG, nicely done. Absolutely dominating their offensive half here and flawless when it comes to the basement attack. 3 attempts made at it by Team Reciprocity. None of them were successful. And even beyond that, only won the 2 upstairs sites once each time. As you might expect at this point, Rec are going to call for a pause as they have some stratting to do going into this offensive half. Otherwise, we could be looking at a very quick shutdown from SSG on map number 1 of this final. especially with the way Fultz is playing right now.
The real question is, how do you shut him down? That's the real question. Rolling into defense on Clubhouse, so they do just give him the reins and say, hey, do what you got to do. Let's try and run through this map as quickly as possible. Because, guys, remember, this is a best of 5. This is not a best of 3. It's a marathon, not a race. Granted, it still kind of has some race attributes to it because you still got to kind of win. But it's going to be a lot longer standing. If we go through all of the maps and they're as competitive as what we've seen so far, you're talking about almost an hour every single game. Not only is that a lot of playing, but that's a lot of talking, to be completely honest with you.
Players are going to find themselves starting to get exhausted as we move towards the end of the series. The quicker you can close this out, the better. I'm certain that SSG is definitely going to want to go for the shutdown if they take this map in convincing fashion. Reciprocity looking to bounce back, though. Over the last 2 days, we've been seeing them make very smart adjustments. To be fair, though, a lot of that coming in the mid-round, not necessarily in kind of the meta game sense across multiple rounds. So I'm curious to see how they adapt to these larger overall issues that SSG has caused for them.
Attackers need to locate and defuse
Well,
bombs.
at the split, 4-2 in favor of SSG as they go to defense. This means a whole hell of a lot, even though Reciprocity has looked so good on offense. On Clubhouse throughout this tournament, they're able to channel that we could be pushing this to overtime, but I don't feel like it's going to be getting that far. We'll have to see how pace is set for this first round. We saw them very opted to go quickly on offense to the site, try and get immediate pressure and a diffuser down multiple times yesterday, Blue. I don't feel like they're going to do that this time. I feel like they're going to opt for the drone game, try and see where these players are, because SSG more than likely has a lot in store for them if they do go for those rushes.
5 seconds
That's
left.
exactly what we're going to have to see. We won't really have a choice in the matter. Either way, Spacestation gave us an interesting curveball by starting out on this site. It makes sense, though, given the stat we got from SSG earlier. And the last time these two teams met on this map, Spacestation did have a perfect defensive side. So they're going to try and stretch their strat out a little bit here, go for the lead, a little bit less commonly played site, and see if they can escape with a win early.
They're already burning ADSs up top. That's a castle barricade that sits there, but they had Vert pop it earlier. They're throwing stun grenades in to see if there's any ADSs that Canadian has placed. They're trying to do this because they want to get rid of the castle barricade on the other side of Waits, because you usually have someone bandit tricking there. Obviously no bandit. They have thinking nades mutes that are watching the drone hole as well as the wall. Fun fact for you guys, though, Reciprocity has only faced an Ash ban a single time in 2019 in a CCS match in March against Organized Chaos, their first time facing Fultz. That's actually quite a while ago. Organized Chaos was like Fultz, Merc, Prod, and a couple of other people, if I remember off the top of my head. So we have 2 pros that are now pros from that roster. That was that CL squad.
It's weird that it was against him, too.
Yeah.
And that was the last time they had to go up against it. Either way, though, Reciprocity popping open the CCTV balcony to start things out. A little bit of drone work as they do check out what the setup in cache looks like. Vert is going to end up rotating to that CCTV wall to start his push to the inside. 3 out of 4 of the lifelines are available with both of the stun charges. Fultz at the same time is waiting for the push to work itself into construction or the windows next to him. And he's supporting the follow-up from Rampy. And Rampy's actually got a pretty important job here, too. If they do try to pop open those reinforced walls, he's obviously on the cave there, and he can try to trick those.
Yeah, this is a more traditional way to hold down cache, especially since Kaid now has those impacts. He can deny even more. They're more than likely going to want to use Fox here because you can set the Actyros low, and the impact grenades don't have as much control over that. The issue, though, is it's Kaid. If you put an Electro Claw on, then you can get them in time, but he doesn't do it in time. He throws the impact first, not realizing that it's a little bit too low for the impact to trick it, and he gets there too late with the Electro Claw. Actually, I believe the first one was EMP. That might have been the issue and why he went for the impact grenade just on a Hail Mary.
He's going to be pressured here in a second. He does have the top table to stand on. The bottom hole wouldn't have been much of an issue, but he did jump off of it, opening up the possibility for Vertical to trade. That brings us back down into a 4v4. Both teams take an even exchange. Here's the problem, though. Rec quickly running out of time. A little over 30 seconds left, and they're barely in the building.
That's what that cache defense is all about. Waste as much time as possible, and Rampy even gets a kill for it. You don't even have to worry about that kill. If you're able to waste that much time, your time was already valuable enough. It doesn't really matter if you get that kill. Vert still plenty of utility, has to worry about one. Fox with a first kill for Reciprocity in offense takes down Fultz. It's a big kill. We've seen him performing quite well throughout. Vert starting to warm things up. Lax finds one as well on the other end of the map. Retro now putting a plant down, but he finally gets thwarted, and Canadian, oh no, is the big bad Canadian back, folks? We'll have to find out. It's the pre-fire, and Canadian wins it out. Let them know, my man.
Gonna ring the bell a little bit at the end of the round there too, pinging it off the door hinge, as he lets him know right where he was as the timer expires. SSG running over Reciprocity here on Clubhouse right now. Just 2 more rounds to go, and the first map is theirs.
Canadian starting to feel himself. Hopefully he's rocking the SMG-12 on Vigil instead. I gotta troll him a little bit. I put him on a pedestal there for a second. Now I gotta kind of knock it over just a little bit, But no, if Canadian comes online and plays like everyone knows he can win out these gunfights. He's creating these clutch moments. If he gets back into that, I don't see this going all of the maps, because Canadian is a very dangerous man when he's online.
Canadian's just a minor factor at all of this. Look, he's only 3 and 4 right now. You still have some of the other guys' faults. We've talked to the Grave, but the rest of the team doing a pretty good job at this one as well. Spacestation looking lights out right now. The support systems are all where they need to be. Everything's looking great. This is what I was worried about for Rec. It's the limited capability to just work together when it comes to things like strats. And that SSG was going to be able to counter that.
No, you're completely right. And honestly, the thing for me was that a lot of the times looking back through the IGL experience of Canadian, the things that he's had the most trouble with is people that play brainless, quote unquote,
Yeah.
They just do whatever comes to mind at that time. There's no if, and, or but. It's just kind of like we do. And that's what Reciprocity's playstyle is, and they've even heightened that with their 2 pickups. They just play the game. They don't really put too much into it. They just go, okay, this is what we want to do, and we move on with our day. We don't really care about what the other team's going to do. We're going to do our own thing. Whereas Canadian, it's always been about, I can quickly counter-strat. Well, when the other team is just going with the flow, it's very, very difficult to do that. But it really does feel like SSG is just playing their own game right now.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's worked out great. Obviously on the attacking side, at least when it came to the first round, had to just straight up dismantle that roaming game for Reciprocity, but they did such a good job at it that I think Reciprocity's kind of been reeling since that point, trying to figure out how they could go back to their usually more aggressive style and trying to shut down a few players from Space Station early in the round, which to be honest, they've barely been able to do. There's been maybe 2-3 rounds where I think Foxe or someone else has had success getting 1 or 2 kills, but that's been it. This round, though, is going to be a little bit different on the attacking side. Laxing moves in, catches the opener against the Mute, played by Thinking Nade.
Well, Canadian finds some safe harbor inside of stock. So far for Reciprocity, they've bagged 1 kill. It's that Mute you see at the top of your screen, but they still have a long road ahead of them. A lot of wasted time. This is SSG's first extended roam that they've had in the basement. Canadian still holding on to an impact, more than likely used one earlier to make a rotate. Kept one on him just to pop one of the hatches so he could get back downstairs. As Nyx is doing the same thing, but instead he's doing it the traditional way. Instead of jumping down a hatch, he's going to walk down a staircase like a regular man.
So Nyx will start checking out what's waiting for him in the 90 hallway in the basement. Foxe with the entry into kitchen. There was someone that actually was going to try and fire back, but Fultz just a couple seconds too late to catch that, sadly. So, for the time being, the Habana does have control of the kitchen, and Foxe will be able to try and work towards getting those hatches open if he so wishes over these next few seconds.
There is still a deep roamer all the way upstairs for SSG. It's Rampy. Do they know he's here? I don't think they do. Some quick shots onto Laxing, and that's the EMP's gone, folks. They're thinking Nate has Mute set upstairs. They can't get rid of them unless Nyx can try and find some soft flooring to shoot them through. Canadian pushes it even further, taking down Retro. Oh no, this is not looking like a good round for Reciprocity as Rampy takes down Vert, grabs the double. Foxe getting injured by impacts. Hasn't been down just yet though. Nyx works his way down blue, claims himself a Bosco. Only 30 seconds remain. Nyx, Foxe, Rampy on rotation, making a triple for him. Have a day, my friend. Nyx walks into yet another Legion mine. The IQ not using that sensor to his liking. Does have the LMG, could work it out, but it's not gonna matter. Rampy with the quad on the round, and round 8 is theirs.
Space Station taking full control of this map right now, completing their rotate, and now gonna try and go back. See if they can get 1 more round here. Gonna have to go over to Cash and CCTV, I believe, next to try and shut this down and see if they can take full control of a site triangle and win them the map. There it is, the pick for them. Once again, great stuff. Reciprocity just not making enough progress quickly enough here. Barely having some of the hatches open with a little under a minute left on the clock does not give them any time to play with, along with the fact that the roamers upstairs were never dealt with, or the roamer, I should say, upstairs was never dealt with. Reciprocity on that late round just gets picked apart, player by player.
SSG playing very, very slow even with the roam game. Not too aggro, especially after thinking Nade got picked. Don't want to throw the round by just throwing yourself to the wolves. So Rampy especially, the patience game upstairs, showed no face at all, just bided his time and waited. And that's all he had to do. Because Reciprocity didn't drone. They just didn't. They knew where the Vigil relatively was, but even with that little bit of information, there was not a drone that touched upstairs, and that's what allowed Rampy to just sit inside of cash room. That's a regular space that you check. He's not sitting in a corner. He literally has soft destruction done to the floor, and they still had no idea of his presence. That's a big missed drone from Reciprocity.
Have to patch that up quickly here. This is a large part of why their attacking side just doesn't seem to be working out right now, not getting enough intel quickly enough, and most importantly, missing key things, as you had just mentioned. Spacestation had the opposite problem. They were droning arguably almost too much, and it was leaving them with every piece of intel they could have possibly wanted. Thankfully, it wasn't over-droning, and they ended up getting the exact amount they needed to close out so many of those attacker-sided rounds. We've got Reciprocity out onto the table. Nyx going checking to those top balcony windows to see if anyone's going to go for spawn peaks. Not likely at this point in the game for SSG, though. They can keep playing their own game right now and still expect good results.
Well, we have the first attempt to patch the breach in the hole, and that's going to be Dokkaebi. Bring a little bit more information game to the offensive unit, and that's what they're going to need. Dokkaebi, very unique operator. She actually rings the phones of the defense when she launches a logic bomb. Makes it to where you can hear all of them, unless you're obviously standing on a mute, but we don't have to worry about that because SSG is not manning one. Also, if you do end up killing one of the defensive players, you can take their phone, hack it, and then you have access to their entire network of information from cameras to drones to what have you.
That includes operator-specific cameras as well, so things like Valkyrie cameras, Maestro's Evil Eyes, the Yokai, so on and so forth.
Stun grenade out.
Well, Fox A now having control of stock, but gets quickly dispatched from Rampy, and you want to talk about somebody that's dangerous on land. Laxi was talking about how land is his environment yesterday. It's also this man's environment. Rampy, ever since he's been on land, has been an absolute force to be reckoned with. Canadian sends a nice surprise to Vertical, claims the kill, moves on with his day. Reciprocity already injured inside of this match point round for SSG.
SSG looking so strong at this point. Rec once again trying their best to make something happen out of this one. But all the map control is just back under the control of Spacestation. Walls still not open. They do have Retro and Lax that can make an attempt at that, but with the Bandit on the other side, there's not going to be much of a hope. Another player falling as Nyx tries to complete a flank through the basement. Retro also falling a second later as he tries to make a first entry. Everything's on Laxing now, and the Blue Stairs player should already have a good idea that he's nearby. And there you go, Rampy makes the run out, gets the last kill on Laxing, and we see Space Station Gaming take solid control of map #1 of this best of 5.
This is looking so dangerous. That was such a fast clubhouse from Space Station, where we saw Reciprocity be very dominant throughout this entire LAN on this map. A fast 7-2, definitely did their homework. Lycan definitely earned that paycheck.
And what I like as well out of that one, and what's going to look great for SSG going into further maps, is that map wasn't necessarily won as a result of the mistakes from SSG, at least not at its core, but more so of the things that SSG was doing correct. That's going to do it for us for now, though, folks. We'll take it back over to the desk to break down map #1. We'll be back shortly with map #2.
Thanks a lot, gentlemen.